Hey FlatsClass fans, Captain C.A. Richardson here, and I've got a really cool story to tell you today. And it starts with this push-pull foot right here. Watch this. This episode of FlatsClass YouTube is brought to you by Aquatraction, your go-to solution for advanced marine flooring. Hey guys, it's Captain CA here with FlatsClass YouTube. Today I'm going to take you on an adventure. I mean, when I say an adventure, I mean an adventure. We're going to go meet up in Mims, Florida with Mr. Flip Pallot. That's right, the guy that got us all going into this business in the first place. The only problem is Jack and Cam are pretty late. So as soon as they get here, we'll be underway and get this adventure started. And I promise you, you will learn something from this trip. We're probably going to do a little baby tarpon fishing over there on the East Coast. And who knows, maybe cook something in the fire dish, do something. You know, you never know what happens when you spend a day with Flip Pallot.
Whatever you like is the flavor that you can buy.
We're going to try this. I'm a big Coffee Mate fan myself.
Yeah, you can get that stuff in any conceivable flavor.
So definitely want to have a decent wide angle.
I didn't know we were going to be on the Food Network.
Can we turn the fire this?
So the Mims toast is just about done. We have to keep the recipe a secret for now. For now. Yeah. Mims toast came out pretty good. Thank you. Really good. So as you might have already guessed by now, this is a behind the scenes shoot for FlatsClass YouTube. But it's more or less, it's about the episode we shot this season with Flip Pallot for FlatsClass Television, which you'll see on Bally Sports Florida and you'll see on Waypoint TV. You'll also see it here on FlatsClass YouTube once we release it. Without giving the whole episode away, Cam and Jack rode over with me, as you saw, and Flip already had breakfast like underway. We're getting ready to eat something when we got there, and kind of cool how he was able to concoct Mims toast, which is, I'm going to say, really fancy French toast with a little bit of palm sugar and a little bit of rum and some whipping cream or coffee cream that was flavored. But it was damn tasty. I'll give him that. He is a good camp chef, that is for sure, among other things. So the idea originally, the first plan, we ended up having to go down about 4 plans to get this done. But without giving too much away on the episode, we were going to originally fish a one-day shoot on a private hunting lease that had some really nice bass ponds on it. And yes, go bass fishing, of course. We're doing this more or less because of the time constraints with Flip's schedule. Because he already had an obligation for the following day to do another podcast with Andy and Nikki Mill for the Millhouse podcast. So he was already obligated to that. So I needed to get this done in one day. We had to pick something safe. I'll be back to explain what plan B was, because we're going to go down the list here. But one of the things we had talked about during breakfast, and he had already started, was us eventually, the next time we got together, was to put a guava tree root, or not really a root, but a tree foot. It's a Y that gives you that feeling that you're connected to Mother Earth, and it also dampens the amount of noise that you make when you're poling over harder bottoms and whatnot. But more or less, it's a way for Flip to connect to us and have us more connected onto what's really important in fishing. And I get it. I really do get it. But kind of funny. Watch this next segment, and I'll be back here to explain the rest. just go watch it.
Now I can go this way.
So I'm here with the team from Lateral Media, my son and Jack.
And what's his name?
And what's his name? I think they call this guy Flip. And we're working on putting a guava foot on my Carbon Marine push pole. So without further ado, we're gonna go back at it. I'll show you the finished product here in a minute. So we put together the foot there. It's now curing. We propped it up in this elm, and we're gonna just let it sit there and set up, but not too long before we have to do some tooling, take the tape off, do some tooling to make it look just right. Well, we're going to make a Carbon Marine push pole a little more unique. It's gonna be fun hanging out with Flip doing something different today. So you got a little sneak peek at Flip's garage shop. And I mean, there's a little bit of everything in that shop. I mean, everything. If you can't find it in there, it does not exist. It's kind of a museum. It's kind of a workshop. It's kind of a storage area. And I don't know if I've seen that many antlers and turkey beards in one place before, but if there is such a place, he's got to be in the top 10. All right, well, you saw his handiwork as he drilled the holes, trying to make almost a way for the foot of the guava foot that was going to go in the push pole, so that cement, that epoxy, could get through those holes and really bond and never come out. When he cures these pieces of wood that he's collected over the years, he cures them for about a year, so they're hard, and then he literally rasps them with a hand rasp and gets them so he can shape them nice and smooth and perfectly. And then he promises me, from hour after hour of push pulling through sand and mud and marl and grass and rock, that it becomes polished and looks like a very finished product. And I've already got several days now on that push pole, and the fact that Flip is a part of it makes it that much more special to me personally. It is an $1,100 push pole, and when he came out to cut my plastic foot off, and I'm saving this, he brought a chainsaw out, and when I saw him hack through this and it started to fray up, I was like, you're killing me. We're destroying this push pole. And then he realized that this type of push pole, we might have to hacksaw it instead of using a chainsaw and just whacking it off. But it was priceless to watch it happen and to see it, to his surprise, and him go, oh wow, this isn't turning out too good. I'm like, no, it's not. But anyhow, he saved it. And then we epoxied everything in. We kind of cleaned it up, but he was trying to shape it there at the bottom of that guava foot. And then it had to be taped up and then set up in an elm tree to dry. Now, I didn't want Flip to have to tote that on his truck the next morning when he was going to meet us, because we were staying at a hotel in Titusville. So I just put it on my boat and I took off with it. And he says, well, I might have to do a little work in the morning. As you can see right here, the boys were up filming that with him, because he brought some round files and started working on making it look perfect before we filmed. And then we met our plan B, which was Captain Noah Miller. And he took us to a creek or a river that had several little finger creeks that went into residential neighborhoods, where there were going to be some micro tarpon. And in a typical day, when it's not blowing 30 miles an hour and you have a front, you're able to catch, you know, 5 or 6 hookups and you get 1 or 2 to the boat. And that's really all we wanted to do, is tell the story. Yeah, well, you'll see what happened. I'll be back to explain more. Like that one, a little deeper. Yep,
Is that which way you're going?
definitely one there. A couple of them working up above us at our 3 o'clock.
How far?
I got to get you up there a little ways. Or,
There's still fish around.
yeah, there's fish around. I know, I turned it on. I like this backdrop a little better. Pepper bushes. No, I didn't see one. Kind of just looking around to see where they're thick again. Always seem to like these dead end canals. Back there again. For whatever reason, and I don't know what reason that was, but those tarpon, they were rolling and just gupping in there like crazy with the mullet, and we got about 3 or 4 follows. That's it on fly. So then the flipster picks up this antique fishing rod and decides to throw some of the smallest crappie looking jigs that I'd ever seen. But I'm thinking, this is gonna work. Well, you'll see. He pulled out a relic today.
We had it since about 55. That's
1950s?
Everybody that I fished with, all the guys that I fished with, use this same reel. It's called an Alcedo Micron.
Alcedo
It's
Micron.
made in Italy. It was one of the very first spinning reels. And they didn't have a bail.
I see that.
Later they came with a bail, but we just took them off.
Seemed like he kept coming for him.
Just bump and mullet.
Yeah. So no, those micro crappie jigs did not work either, and neither did any of the Ned rigs that I rigged for him, thinking that, okay, well maybe they want something just a ½ an inch bigger. We went through every progression I could think of. Nothing was working. So Captain Noah said, let's make a move. Let's go a little further down this creek, and there's 2 more little finger creeks that we can get into that you can pull, flip around, and we'll go back to throwing a darker fly on these deeper edges around the mangroves where the tarpon should be rolling. And they were, but you'll see what happened. Perfect, come on. So that did not go well over there in Melbourne. So now our camera boat guy said, listen, there's a spot we could go to and we could walk in and probably catch some tarpon, but it's a spot I don't like anyone to know about. Well, I'm telling you, you're not going to know where we are, but I am going to take you there. So stand by. Yeah, this is going to hell in a handbasket pretty damn quick because it's like 2:30 in the afternoon now. So we have squandered 2/3 of the day away, pissed it away. And we've got zip, nothing. I mean, nothing. The camera crew is still upbeat just because Flip has so many stories. And as you'll see when you watch this episode on television, I mean, there's just so many Flipisms or axioms that he's known for and hijinks that it makes it very entertaining. But I, as the host, I want some substance. I want to teach you guys something about fishing. But that was going to be challenged. So plan A got burned out before we ever got started. Plan B didn't work. Plan C didn't work. And now I'm in my truck driving 30 minutes south of where we started with Flip in tow behind me, following me. I'm thinking it's going to be after 3 o'clock when we get to this spot. And this spot we're going to is a spot where you park on the side of the road and you walk in there to fish basically for ditch pickles, bass. You'll see. Go on, I'll be back. Just like when we were kids, coming home from getting off the school bus and going fishing. No.
Just said in your eyes that you were grown up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes.
Leave me out of that.
Being very presumptuous.
Just leave me out of it.
I used to bury my fishing rod at my bus stop so I could fish before school and after school. Let's see what we got in here. I was just obsessed with fishing. Still am. Oh, this looks interesting. Looks challenging. A canal. A canal. Looks like there's plenty of stuff to look for. That's a little slippery slope.
What am I hearing about? What am I hearing?
I think we're hearing a nailer. Easy does it. Oh, I see him.
Can you see him right there?
I see him.
He's laid up right there.
He's just laid up.
Yep.
How in the hell do I not see this fish?
Looks like Flip got a bass down here. I was fishing down there, striking out, looking for tarpon. Flip's down here catching damn bass. We always end up in a ditch. Let's close on this one here, Dad, with Flip. Let's close on it. Can you get down there with him, maybe? We're about ready to wrap up this shoot. We've got Jack down there, Flip and I, and we're about done catching ditch pickles for the day. I think this will be a wrap for sure. I mean, it was a struggle today. Making the second move was definitely the right thing to do. Ended up getting a Mayan cichlid and a couple of bass. It was the smart thing to do. Definitely.
I got a fire ant bite.
Oh, and then there's that. There's a fire ant bite.
Just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, it's relevant. Noah Miller, who was our camera boat today, back there, he really helped us out a lot. And now we're doing the interview with Flip. So we're going to be wrapped up with this momentarily. Let's go hear what Flip has to say. ACA reached out to you, and what did he tell you he wanted to do?
No, he never tells me anything about what he wants to do in the show. never gives me a clue. I'm always surprised. It never takes me to any good locations. We always have to struggle. We always wind up in a ditch. And we always wind up catching a bass. Just everything we do works out that way. But on the good side about that,
Back here again. Well, to break it down for you, we ended up walking down to that ditch. It's a ditch. It's a drainage ditch. And there was actually tarpon in that ditch. Of course, they did not want to eat anything we had, and there was so much floating or emergent grass, it was going to be impossible to work anything through it. But I ended up rigging a couple of Z-Man Slim Swims on some very small Texas Eye finesse rigging hooks. And we just kind of fan cast over the top of that grass in there, very weedless, if you will. And covered enough water for me to catch one Mayan cichlid. And then I ended up catching a bass that was probably a little over 4 pounds. And then Flip got 2 nice bass. And we didn't want to show everything here because then there's no need to watch the show. But overall, just impressive. I mean, we wrapped up at 6:30 at night after fishing that canal and saying our goodbyes to Captain Noah, who I thank deeply for working as long and as hard as he did to make sure we caught something. And then Flip, I mean, I don't know if you could really see it in this YouTube video, but there were some pretty steep embankments there, and he was game for climbing down them and climbing back up them. And one time I got down there and I didn't know if I could get back up, and he put his hand out and I grabbed it and he pulled me right up, and I'm not a little fella. So makes me believe that he's timeless, he's ageless. Proud to call him a friend, and a friend of FlatsClass. And as you can see by this picture of my gang, the boys, Jack, Cam, and myself, at the end of the day, it was still a great day because we were with Flip. If you like this kind of stuff that we do here at FlatsClass YouTube, give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. It's my job to make you guys better anglers and entertain you along the way. Until next time, like Flip always says, bye for now.